Incredible rescue, brave Bernese puppy, 5 months old, joins farmer to save mom from giant python. The summer sun hung heavy over Maplewood, casting long shadows on the cracked earth of Sam's family's farm. Once a symbol of prosperity, the land now seemed to breathe despair. And yet, 6 adorable paws pounded joyfully across the lawn, fueled by unyielding spirit. Max, the Bernese mountain dog puppy, wagged his fluffy tail like a flag of hope against the encroaching darkness. Little did they know that this day would test the very limits of their bond, igniting an unexpected battle for love and life. As Sam knelt in the cornfield, sweat trickling down his brow, he thought back to his father's stories of what this farm used to be, the laughter that echoed off buildings now draped in disuse, the warm dinners shared with neighbors long gone. At just 24, the weight of the past was unbearable. His heart clenched with the haunting fear of losing everything. He picked up a handful of dirt, letting it slip through his fingers like time, burdened by memories of resilience and connection that seemed almost mythic in the face of these dire times. The days melted into an exhausting routine. But as long as he had Max bounding at his side, a thread of joy remained. That puppy was a reminder of simpler days, a portrait of laughter amid hardship. Sam watched Max chase butterflies, his puppy energy a refreshing counterpoint to the somber landscape. With each playful bark, Max seemed to shout, "Life still exists." But as the summer's heat wore on, Sam's debts loomed over him like an all-consuming shadow. That sweltering afternoon crept in, thick with dread. The livestock were restless, the winds whispered warnings. Then, it hit him, a gnawing silence filled the air, and he noticed his mother hadn't returned from the woods where she'd gone to gather herbs. Panic ignited deep within him, clawing at his chest. He dropped his tools and yelled her name, heart pounding as he dashed toward the trees, the soft pat of Max's paws echoing behind him. "Mom!" Fear sang in his voice, rising like a roller coaster with every unanswered call. The thrill turned to despair. The dense thicket was unforgiving, the air thick enough to choke on hopes of finding her. Then, a horrified scream rang out, wringing Sam's heart like a wet rag. He rushed forward, guided by the sound, only to freeze at the sight before him. A massive python coiled defensively around his mother, its scales shimmering ominously in the fading light. "Mom!" he gasped, terror gripping him. In that paralyzed moment of disbelief, Max bristled at his side, instinctively sensing the gravity of the situation. With a brave bark, he bolted forward, a streak of courage against the paralyzing fear that seized Sam. Time stood still as Sam's heart raced, adrenaline crashing over him. Could this little puppy truly be the spark they needed to defeat the dark fate threatening to unravel their family? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As he rushed forward with renewed urgency, Sam called out to his neighbors. The once solitary farmer could feel the shift in the air, the whispers of his community stirring to life. One by one, farmers and townsfolk responded, their commitment igniting a flicker of hope. Together, they formed a search party, fueled not by mere obligation but by something more powerful, an urgent desire to reclaim the heart of Maplewood. As Max confronted the lumbering snake, instinct and bravery oozing from him, the tension crackled like a summer storm. Sam's chest tightened as he realized that more than just his mother's safety hung in the balance. It was a fight for the very spirit of their community, for reconnecting the love that had dimmed over the years. Would they prevail against this primal foe? The stakes couldn't be higher, with the fates of both family and town on the line. As they braced for a battle that might change everything, Sam couldn't shake the feeling. In the face of such terror, what did it truly mean to stand together as family? Hearts pounding, the collective breath of Maplewood held tight as Sam rushed into the clearing, his voice a desperate roar above the chaos. "Get back, Max!" he yelled, feeling the urgency swell in his chest like a tidal wave. But the pup didn't hesitate, growling with ferocity, His eyes locked onto the python as if daring it to take another inch. The snake, seemingly unfazed, tightened its grip around Sam's mother, who was struggling against the scaling constriction. "Please, just hold on, Mom," Sam shouted, pushing through thick brambles that scratched at his skin, tearing his shirt as he barreled forward. Around him, neighbors filtered into the clearing, weapons in hand, pitchforks, shovels, anything that could break the nature's embrace around Sam's mom. But each person bore the same incredulous expression. Could they really face off against nature's giant? Max seemed to understand the stakes. With a swift movement, he lunged at the python, aiming for its tail to distract it. The dog barked as if trying to rally the others, a whirlwind of determination. For every furrowed brow and every heart clenching in fear, the puppy erupted with energy, embodying a wild courage that influenced even the most hesitant of hearts. "On my count," Sam urged, sweat trickling down his brow, mixing worry with hope. He scanned the group, seeing both terror and resolve reflected in their eyes. 1, 2, 3. Together, the townspeople surged forward, brandishing their tools as weaponry against fate. In that moment, Sam was no longer just a solitary farmer, he was a son fighting for his mother, a neighbor reawakening the soul of a community. Max darted around, barking loudly, drawing the python's attention. The snake recoiled slightly, uncoiling its grip for just a heartbeat. Sam seized the chance, charging in, heart racing, now just feet away from his mother. He reached out, fingers brushing against her arm, feeling the warmth of life beneath the cold, sinuous threat. "Hold on, Mom," Sam yelled again, pulling at the python with all of his strength. The muscular body of the snake writhed, tense and powerful. "Grab it. Pull it off," a neighbor shouted. The others quickly regrouped, coordinating their effort. Every hand grasped whatever they could find, voices rising in urgency, blending into a single chant of encouragement. "Keep going. You got this." For every ounce of fear that threatened to drag them back into despair, they matched it with courage, a bravery wrought in love, echoing the bonds that had been forged within their community. Suddenly, with a deafening crack, one of the farmers swung his pitchfork at the python, striking it just enough to send the beast recoiling back. An unexpected gasp of surprise fueled a surge of adrenaline through the group. "Now, Sam!" someone shouted. With sheer willpower, Sam pulled his mother free of her serpentine captor just as the python lunged one last time at the retreating figures. Hearts raced with the thrill of their narrow escape. Tumbling backward into the arms of two neighbors, Sam's mother gasped, her breaths ragged, while Max, somehow emboldened by the chaos, leaped after the snake. The struggle was far from over. Sam's heart thudded an urgent cadence as he urged Max to back away, knowing the danger still loomed. "Everyone, retreat." Sam's voice carried over the howling tension, filled with an urgency that rang true to their shared resolve. They needed to regroup and assess the situation, but more than that, they needed to give his mother the care she desperately needed. Before Sam could blink, his world turned. Max stood protectively in front of them, growling low, and the python began to shift its focus. What would happen next as fear and determination collided in that charged moment? Would they finally reclaim their lives? How would they stand against the primal forces threatening to tear them apart? Sam felt his heart drop as the python's head whipped around, its cold gaze locking onto Max. In that split second, reality settled like a heavy stone in his stomach. This was not just a battle for his mother, it was a fight for survival, and Max was now a target. "Max, come back!" Sam yelled, desperation spilling from his lips. But the puppy stood firm, defiance sparking in his bright eyes. He would not retreat. Panic rippled through Sam like an electric shock. He couldn't let fear paralyze him, not now. He took a step forward, eyes darting between the python and his mother, who was still gasping for breath, face pale and frantic. "Stay back," he warned the neighbors, holding up his hand as if it could shield them. "We need to make a distraction." "Sam, what are you thinking?" someone yelled from behind, uncertainty edging their voice. "Just trust me." With a surge of adrenaline, Sam grabbed an old adze lying in the dirt nearby. He hoisted it up, his muscles straining under the weight, and marched toward the python. Hey! Over here! He shouted, adrenaline fueling his courage. The snake swayed, momentarily turning its attention from Max. Sam could feel the heat of both fear and resolve burning in his chest. This was a fierce, primal encounter, and he would not allow despair to clutch him any longer. Max seized the moment. With a sharp bark, he dashed in a circle around the python, and Sam's heart soared. The little pup was bravely creating a diversion, darting a few feet away, then back again, as though he danced on air. Now! Sam shouted. He lunged forward, swinging the adze down with all his might towards the python's tail. The iron struck true, connecting with a thud that reverberated through his bones. The snake recoiled with a hiss, a blast of primal fury echoing in the clearing. A chorus of encouragement erupted from the onlookers, hearts racing. Sam pressed forward, pulling his mother closer to safety, while Max returned to his side, panting but still alert. We have to get her out of here. One neighbor yelled, rushing up to help support Sam's mother, who was dizzy from the attack. With every ounce of strength, they matched their will against the python's lingering threat. The group moved as a unit now, their shared purpose igniting the air around them. Back to the house! Sam called, leading the retreat, fierce determination propelling him forward. Just as they neared the outskirts of the clearing, there came a sudden, chilling hiss. The python, no longer willing to abide the retreat, launched itself at them, a fierce living missile. Sam spun around, adrenaline flooding his veins. Get down! Sam yelled, shoving his mother and the others out of the snake's aimed path, but he could feel the swiftness of danger, its fangs gleaming like knives in the dappled sunlight. Max, the brave puppy, leaped in front, ready to protect as if he were born for this moment. Sam felt a wild combination of pride and fear. They were fighting for their lives, and the stakes had never felt higher. Would they manage to escape the clutches of the python? Or would this battle lead to a confrontation that would forever change their lives? The weight of the moment felt unbearable, as Sam steadied himself for the worst. The python lunged, a blur of scales and muscle, and Sam's breath hitched in his throat. Time stretched like taffy as he saw Max, a small, yet formidable defender, stand his ground. The puppy barked fiercely, causing the snake to hesitate just long enough. Sam could feel the shift in momentum, just a fraction of an opening. Max, now, he yelled, his voice raw with urgency. The command spurred the puppy into action. Max dashed forward, snapping at the air just inches from the python's snout. It was a costly move, but it bought Sam a heartbeat to act. With the makeshift weapon clutched tightly, he swung the adze once more at the python's advancing body. He struck, not without fear of the backlash, but driven by instinct and the desperate need to protect. The blade caught the snake's scales, and the screech that erupted from it was a sound of fury and pain that resonated deep in Sam's bones. Around him, the crowd gasped, and the neighbors flinched. Some stood frozen, while others shouted encouragement. The collective energy was palpable, a tapestry of fear and solidarity woven together. Keep moving! A neighbor commanded, urging them towards safety. The barn, quick! With renewed strength, Sam nudged his mother forward, her fragile form leaning heavily against him. The neighbors, shaking but steadfast, began to retreat with them, using their bodies as shields against the horror that could pounce at any moment. Sam's heart thudded louder than ever, every beat urging them to safety. Stay close! He reminded Max, who was already darting between their legs, ears perked and ready for more. The puppy wouldn't leave his side, and it filled Sam with an unshakable warmth, a bond forged in this chaotic moment. They reached the barn's entrance, but Sam glanced back, gut twisted with dread. The python was recovering, coiling back as if preparing for another strike. He could see the gleaming eyes lock onto Max again, drawn to the relentless spirit of the dog that stood against it. Max! Sam shouted, his voice cracking. The puppy was only 5 months old, yet courage radiated off him like sunlight. The fear that churned inside Sam began to transform into something else. This was not just a fight, it felt like a test of everything he loved. Sam, go! One neighbor shouted, urgency lacing their voice. No! Sam's voice was fiercer than he intended, a desperate plea against letting go. We can't leave. Suddenly, Max bounded forward again, drawing the snake's anger like a moth to flame. The creature surged toward him, and Sam's heart stopped. Stop! Sam roared, raising the adze one last time, ready to leap into the fray. And then, from the crowd, an unexpected figure emerged. Old Farmer Harris, with his weathered hands and fiery spirit, took a determined step forward. In his grasp was a large pitchfork, and he raised it with an authority that silenced the chaos. A different kind of intervention. Back off, you beast! He shouted at the python, his voice booming. The python paused, momentarily confused, as it recalibrated its target from the puppy to this new threat. With Max drawing the python's focus, Sam felt a surge of partnership fueled by those around him. We can do this! He yelled at Farmer Harris, realizing they were united in purpose. Together, they stood their ground, man, boy, and puppy, ready to face whatever came next. The python's attention flickered, uncertainty playing across its scaled face. What would happen if they stood together? Would their combined strength be enough to drive the creature back and protect the ones they loved? The tension hung heavy in the air, a single moment stretched infinitely. The python's eyes narrowed, muscles coiling with a predatory focus. Sam felt every heartbeat resound in his ears. Beside him, Max barked fiercely, undeterred but clearly aware of the dangers it faced. Farmer Harris stood tall, pitchfork poised, his own fear masked by determination. Sam, are you ready? The farmer asked, a steely glint in his eye. Yeah, but Sam hesitated, glancing at Max. We have to protect my mom. The urgency of the situation rushed in again, enveloping him. Harris nodded. We'll divide its attention. You be the distraction and I'll take my shot. Sam gulped, knowing every breath could hold consequence. Okay. The python struck, fast and low, aiming for Max. In one swift motion, Sam threw himself in front of the puppy, adrenaline fueling him. No. Get back. The python's fangs glistened, dangerously close, but just then, Harris lunged forward. He drove the pitchfork toward the serpent's midsection. The beast recoiled, hissing in pain as its body twisted instinctively away. Now, Sam! Farmer Harris shouted, empowering Sam to act on instinct. Rallying the surge of hope inside, Sam swung the adze, but this time he aimed higher. The blade connected with the python's neck in a flurry of scales and shouts. The force of his strike jolted him, but he held steady. The python wriggled, desperate for escape, emboldened by its own ferocity. Max, now! Sam cried. With a yip, Max leaped into action again, darting toward the beast's tail, nipping at it to divert its focus. The creature squirmed, momentarily distracted by the audacity of the puppy. We can do this, we can drive it back. It was a dance of chaos. Sam, Harris, and Max were one team. They moved in sync, each member pushing against the other's fear, driven by a shared goal. Max barked as he skittered close, jolting Sam with bursts of bravery. Farmer Harris steadied himself, aiming the pitchfork again. This was their opportunity. Together now. With a surge of adrenaline, they closed in. Sam swung his weapon low, catching the python's belly while Harris thrust forward, forcing the pitchfork against the python's body. The creature lashed out, but the two men stood resolute, unyielding at this united front. Max continued to nip and bark, a whirlwind of courage that managed to unsettle even the coiling predator. A sudden loud crack split the air as the pitchfork pierced deeper, finding its mark. The python shrieked, an ear-splitting sound of rage and distress. It was losing ground. The crowd roared with encouragement, the tension breaking as hope wove itself into their hearts, but the victory was still uncertain. The python thrashed violently, revealing the raw power it held beneath its scales. Sam, watch out! Harris shouted, fresh urgency rising in his voice as he tried to refocus on the beast. With renewed ferocity, the python turned once more, ready to regain its footing. Heart racing, Sam felt the bond with his family, friends, and that little puppy grow stronger. They were fighting something huge, something much bigger than just a snake. They were fighting for safety, connection, and love. And they would not give up. Suddenly, the python lunged again, its vengeance igniting. Sam felt a surge of fear mixed with determination as he prepared for one last stand. If they fell now, they would lose everything. Push harder. He bellowed, uncertainty creeping in, the stakes feeling more real than ever. Could their united strength prevail against this fury? Could they make it through together, or would they face the darkness to come? The answer lingered like the heavy air, unspoken yet electric, just waiting to be unleashed. The python struck with renewed ferocity, its body twisting like a living missile aimed right at Sam. Heart pounding, Sam couldn't think, he just acted, digging his heels into the rough dirt of the farmyard. He faced the creature, heartbreak and love mixing in a potent cocktail that steadied every trembling fiber of his being. "Max, come!" Sam shouted. His voice was raw, spilling out all the fear he held inside. As if sensing the urgency, Max sprang forward, barking with a bravery that belied his size. Just a puppy, but so much more in this moment. Farmer Harris positioned himself, ready to block the python's advance. "Stay close," he commanded, muscles taut, eyes fierce. The crowd held its breath, a pulse of tension vibrating through the air. Sam felt it, too, a wave of anticipation crashing over them. The python lunged at Max, its deadly fangs glinting in the sunlight. Sam rushed forward, heart racing faster than his legs. "No!" he yelled, swinging the adze again. This time, as if fueled by the desperation of the moment, his aim was true. He nicked the snake's tail just as it brushed past Max. The python's tail lashed out wildly, a testament to its rage. It swung and connected with a thud against the nearby barn, the echo reverberating like a warning bell. The python's head whipped around, eyes narrowing in a mix of fury and pain. It turned back towards Sam, and the glint of vicious intent was unmistakable. Sam's stomach dropped, but in that crucial moment, he felt something shift within him. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about saving his family, his friends, and the courage they shared. "Keep it distracted," Harris shouted, using the pitchfork like a sword, thrusting it forward. "We can't let it breathe, Sam." The farmer's voice carried strength, reminding Sam of their fight. "All right," Sam yelled back, echoing Harris's determination. He lunged towards the snake's head, swinging the adze with all the force he could muster. The python hissed, the sound cutting through the air like a knife. Max darted in and out, weaving between the python's attacks, a little blur of bravery. The puppy's antics were a ray of hope piercing through Sam's rising dread. Each time Max distracted the monster, it gave Sam the openings he so desperately needed. "Sam!" Harris's voice cut through his concentration. "Aim for the eyes." With clarity ringing in his mind, Sam adjusted his grip. The shiny blade flickered in the sunlight as he prepared to strike again. He edged closer, trembling slightly yet fueled by purpose. The python swung again, tail snapping like a whip. "Max!" Sam yelled, barely keeping his eyes from watering at what felt like impending doom. The puppy barked defiantly as if sensing the danger, taking another bold leap at the creature, pushing the python's attention once more. "Now! Strike!" Harris commanded. In that instant, when Sam felt all hope balancing on the edge of annihilation, he unleashed a wild, unrestrained swing at the python. It connected, a shout of triumph mixing with the chaos, as the adze grazed one of the snake's eyes. But in its fury, the python thrashed violently, knocking Harris off balance for a fleeting heartbeat. Sam's heart stuttered, dread sinking in. "Farmer Harris!" The crowd gasped, an echoing sound of collective fear. Would this effort cost them everything in that split second? With blood pounding in his ears, Sam reached deep within himself, listening to the pulse of love and determination that refused to die. They had come too far. Could courage break through the storm? Would love defy the odds in this moment of chaos? The heartbeat of a community hung on a thread as they awaited what lay ahead. Sam stood frozen for a heartbeat, his breath hitching in his throat as he saw Farmer Harris wobble under the weight of the python's fury. Time stretched, every small sound amplified the rustle of leaves in the wind, the shifting of anxious feet in the crowd. Then, with a surge of adrenaline, he dashed toward the fallen farmer. "Get up, Harris!" Sam shouted, desperation lacing his voice. The farmer grunted, struggling to regain his footing as the giant serpent coiled and whipped its tail in a frenzy. Sam grabbed Harris's arm, pulling him back to his feet. "We can't give up now." Together, they reassessed the situation. The python hovered, caught between rage and confusion. Its snake-like eyes burned bright, reflecting raw, primal intent. "Max, focus!" Sam called, knowing the puppy had become essential in this chaotic dance. Max scampered to Harris's side, keeping the snake's attention diverted, barking fiercely, weaving around its massive body. Harris swept the pitchfork in a wide arc, establishing their space. "We need to drive it away from the people," he urged, but uncertainty crept into his tone. Sam nodded, his heart racing. Together, on three he felt a tingle of familiarity. The way they had once plowed fields side by side, their bodies moving as one under the summer sun. Now, that rhythm was vital for survival. 1, 2, 3. They shouted in unison. Harris lunged with the pitchfork while Sam swung the adze again, aiming for the python's snout. The coordinated effort rippled through them, igniting a spark of hope. The python turned slightly, madness and fear flooding its expression. Max seized the moment, darting forward with a yelp, nipping at the snake's tail. Fury erupted in a hissing roar as the python struck at Max, but the puppy was quick, darting away just in time. "Bad idea, buddy," Sam exclaimed nervously. Yet, Max's bravery pushed Sam forward, urging him to fight harder. With each swing he took, something deep inside him flickered back to life. The fight was more than a battle against the snake, it was for something larger, a story worth telling. Suddenly, a cry rang out from the crowd, drawing Sam's attention. "Look!" someone shouted, pointing toward the barn. A group of children peeked from behind, their eyes wide and fearful. In that instant, Sam's heart ached with a wave of protectiveness. They were counting on him. "Max, come back!" he yelled. He didn't want the puppy to venture too close to danger. But Max, ever the fiery spirit, dashed back toward the snake, his small figure a beacon of hope amidst chaos. Sam clenched his fists, determined to keep the creature occupied and the children safe. "Distract it. Max, jump!" he called out. Sam stepped into the fray, his movements fueled by determination. Every slice and swing was fueled by the faces watching him. Adrenaline coursed through his body as he struck again and again, Max fearlessly yapping and lunging. The world around him narrowed to that moment, a primal rhythm unsynchronized with anything beyond the fray. "Harris, go for its throat!" Sam shouted, desperation in his voice. If they could just solve the puzzle, if they could just. A low rumble roared through the air as the python lashed out again, cornered and furious. Would their plan break under pressure? The stakes rose sharply, and Sam readied himself for the shift, knowing that everything hinged on this moment. But just as he dashed in once more, he caught a glimpse out of the corner of his eye, something shifting in the trees behind them. What was that? His heart raced. Was there more waiting in the shadows? Would this fight lead them into an unexpected nightmare? Sam's heart pounded like a drum in his chest, the picture of that movement in the trees etched in his mind. Just seconds ago, it was all adrenaline and instinct, but now doubt gnawed at him. Was there more to this fight than a single python? He glanced at Farmer Harris, who was still recovering, sweat beading on his forehead. "Stay close," he called, trying to keep the focus on the python. As he swung again, the heat of battle mixed with the coolness creeping in from the woods. The shadows there flickered ominously, awareness sparking fear within him. Max barked wildly, ricocheting off the snake's side, keeping it off balance. For a brief moment, the python's attention split. "Good boy," Sam shouted, but he couldn't shake that unshakable feeling something was lurking behind them. Even with Max's determination, the python was massive, coiling tighter, preparing to strike. When he saw it, a flash of movement, just beyond the trees. His instincts screamed danger. It looked like more than just shadows shifting. Was it another snake? An animal seeking revenge? Panic surged through him. Staying grounded became a challenge, not just for him, but for everyone watching. "Everyone, stay back!" Sam shouted, throwing a glance at the crowd. But they were glued to the scene, fear paralyzing them. Then he noticed the children still peeking from behind the barn, those innocent faces etched with confusion. The sight tormented him. "Harris!" Sam barked, tugging his attention. "We can't let this get away from us. Drive it away." His voice rang out with authority, but inside he was trembling. What if there was worse out there? Farmer Harris was steadier now. "We need a plan, Sam," he yelled back, determination igniting again within him. They had to figure out how to use their surroundings to their advantage. In that moment, a loud crash resonated from the tree-line, and both men whipped their heads toward it. Something, or someone, was definitely coming through. "What is that?" Sam muttered, his skin prickling with apprehension. Then came the sound of heavy breaths, guttural and low. It wasn't the hiss of the python anymore. A shadow broke from the foliage, massive, hulking, fur-covered. Sam's stomach dropped. "It's a bear?" he breathed, his words barely escaping his lips. The bear peeked through the leaves, clearly agitated, as if drawn by the commotion. Its wild eyes surveyed the scene, and for a moment, it seemed obsessed with the chaos before it. Sam swallowed hard. This wasn't just about the python anymore. "Harris, we can't let it see the kids." Sam's voice cracked with urgency. A sense of protectiveness surged within him as he remembered the innocent eyes watching from the barn. Just when despair set in, Max took off again, racing to protect his humans. Sam halted, caught between the battle at hand and the overwhelming need to protect the children. His mind whirled. What if this twist brought danger to the kids who watched? "Max, no!" he shouted, desperate to retract his playful little puppy from the chaos, but the small dog was undeterred. He barked furiously, drawing the attention of both the python and now, the bear. "Sam! We have to act!" Farm Harris urged, gripping the pitchfork tightly. How could he manage a battle against two powerful creatures? The stakes had shifted drastically. It wasn't just their lives in jeopardy anymore. With gritted teeth, Sam steeled himself, ready to confront whatever fate awaited them. Their coordination was vital now more than ever. "Okay, on three again," he urged, breathing heavily. "We fight for them." 1, 2. Suddenly, another roar erupted, sending chills through the air. But who was it? The bear? The python? At that very moment, another shadow emerged, a figure rushing toward them, racing across the field. Who was it? With the ground rumbling beneath their feet, Sam's heart thudded. What revelation awaited them on this chaotic battlefield of danger and bravery? The figure barreled toward them, kicking up dirt and grass. Sam's heart raced faster, feeling like it might burst. Adrenaline surged through him as he squinted, desperately trying to make out who or what it was. "Who is that?" Farmer Harris yelled, a mix of confusion and hope lacing his tone. Just as it got closer, Sam's breath hitched. There it was. A young boy, no older than 10, sprinting toward them with wild determination. Behind him, a fluffy Bernese puppy bounded along, its ears flopping with every stride. "Carter!" Sam shouted, recognizing the boy. The sight of him was a confusing blend of relief and dread. What was he doing here, charging into danger like this? "Dad! I saw it from the hill!" Carter yelled, panting, his eyes wide with exhilaration. "I had to help." "Are you crazy?" Sam shouted, panic creeping up his spine. But even as he yelled at the kid, his gaze fell on the dog trailing behind Carter. Max, sensing a companion, danced with excitement, barking happily, as if he welcomed the new warrior to their side. Carter halted near Farmer Harris, expression resolute. "I brought Boomer," he said, pointing to the puppy, who was now keying in on both the python and the bear with a curious tilt of its head. "Boomer? That little thing against a bear and a python?" Sam's voice trembled, incredulous yet impressed. What was this wild child thinking? Just then, another crash echoed through the woods, and Sam felt the ground shake beneath their feet, a fierce reminder that danger lingered. "Carter, you need to go back," Farmer Harris urged, his voice firm. "This is not a game." But there was a spark in Carter's eyes, a fierce loyalty and bravery that reminded Sam of himself at that age, fueled by the desire to protect the ones he loved. The python shifted, sensing the new threat, its massive body coiling tightly. It hissed, a sound low and menacing that echoed off the barn walls. The bear, too, seemed unsettled, glancing between the boy and the dog, weighing its choices. "Sam," Carter called, excitement bubbling over. "Let Boomer help. He can bark and distract them." Boomer looked up at Carter as if he understood every word, chest puffed out in proud determination, ready for action. Sam felt a swell of uncertainty. Could this really work? The stakes were rising, and his heart ached for the children. "Fine," he said, steel creeping into his voice. "You stay close to Harris and keep Boomer focused. We'll push the python back while we can." "On my count." Carter nodded, eyes shining with youthful resolve, and Sam could almost believe that the fearless puppy could make a difference. "Now. 1, 2, 3. They surged forward, maximizing the chaotic energy. Max led the charge, barking, while Boomer echoed his cries, tiny yaps ringing out, cutting through the tension hanging thick in the air. The python struck, and Sam twisted aside just in time. But through the haze of fear, there was a flicker of hope igniting. This wasn't just Sam and Farmer Harris anymore, it was Carter and Boomer, too. Max raced alongside Boomer, their determination tangling together like an unstoppable force. Sam seized that moment. Perhaps with teamwork, they could turn the tide, but suddenly, another roar erupted, deeper and more primal, sending shivers of dread racing down Sam's spine. The bear seemed unfazed by the chaos, it was drawing closer, an unimaginable menace in the backdrop of their battle. "Get back!" Sam screamed, fear threading through his command. As he faced the unwelcome fate awaiting them, adrenaline surged. Would they manage to push back the chaos, or would something terrible happen before their eyes? The looming question faltered on the edge of Sam's consciousness. Who would emerge victorious on this day, and at what cost? The scene was a battleground of raw emotion and unyielding terror. Sam felt his heart race, pounding against his ribs like a drum, driving him forward against the chaos surrounding them. He could see the shadows shift, both the python and the bear loomed dangerously close. It felt like a dream steeped in darkness, but he refused to let that darkness swallow him whole. Every fiber of his being was focused on his mother, the little ones at the barn, and that brave little puppy beside him. "Keep moving," Sam urged, adrenaline flooding him as he brandished the adze. Max and Boomer were a whirlwind of energy, darting around the formidable creatures and barking defiantly, their youthful strength giving Sam hope. "We can't back down. We do this together." Farmer Harris stood fiercely behind him, ready. The crowd shifted, anxious yet resolute, eyes wide with a shared resolve. Each soul present was ready to lend their voice to the fight, their hearts beating in unison. "We have to occupy them. We'll drive them out together," Harris shouted. Sam nodded, bolstered by the words of an old friend who had always believed in the power of community, of family. The python launched forward once more, its scales glinting wickedly as it snaked through the tall grass. Sam swung the adze in an instinctive motion, missing by only a breath. "Max! Boomer!" he bellowed, steel in his voice. "Now!" The two puppies charged, weaving in and out, drawing the snake's attention as if they danced with danger. Huzzah! With each bark, they fired up the courage mingled with fear in the crowd. It was a symphony of defiance against nature's fury. "Boomer, get the tail!" Carter yelled, a proud smile illuminating his youthful face. Sam caught the little dog leaping toward the python's tail, nipping at it just as the snake twisted its body in retaliation. It was a chaotic distraction that worked, a perfect testament to the bravery ignited in their hearts. "Now, Sam! Work together!" Farmer Harris commanded, His voice like a lighthouse cutting through a storm of uncertainty. With a rush of movement, Sam felt a surge of confidence wash over him. He turned toward the bear, recognizing that they had to face all of it head-on. "Harris, the bear will have to wait," Sam shouted, determination in his eyes. "We push the python back first." Just as the massive serpent recoiled, the bear charged, eyes locked on the commotion. That primal gaze threatened mayhem, but deep down, Sam refused to back away. "Max, with me," he yelled, lunging toward the python, ready to give it one last push. His muscles screamed as he joined with Harris, the two of them lunging as a furious team. The pitchfork and the adze swung in a synchronized effort, breaking the python's grip on fear. "We can do this," Sam shouted, the sound echoing across time, history, connection, and hope binding them together. Boomer and Max jumped higher than before, encircling the python, brave little warriors turning the very definition of small into something mighty. Carter's voice rang out again. "Keep it up. You got this." In that moment of unity, as Harris lunged forward, the python shrieked loudly, twisting in anger as the pain coursed through it. "Now!" Sam roared, darting through with all the bravery he could muster. The adze struck true, catching the smooth curve of the python's scales, sending it recoiling with one final hiss. The bear, sensing its prey was now distracted, hesitated just for a heartbeat before retreating slowly back into the woods. The bear and snake had shared their moment but had encountered something far more fearsome. Their combined resolve. The air thinned as the python turned, retreating into the dense brush like an ancient curse broken, the tension dissipating into a collective exhale that swept over the clearing. Around them, cheers broke out. Sam's breath escaped him, chest heaving from the exertion, while Max and Boomer danced in a circle, the embodiment of wild joy, their bond glowing in the sunlight. Sam rushed to his mother, collapsing beside her in relief. Tears cascaded down her sun-kissed cheeks, her hands trembling but filled with warmth. "I thought I'd lost you," Sam breathed, the weight of weightlessness washing over him. Their family had stood strong against a primal threat and emerged together, united by love. "Look at you," she smiled through trembling lips, relief and pride mingling in her voice. "You've become a leader, a protector." As the townsfolk gathered, every face lit up with a shared feeling of exhilaration. Children cried out, laughter erupting as they rejoined their parents. Maplewood had faced darkness, but in that battle, a new dawn shone bright. Sam shared a proud look with Farmer Harris, gratitude swelling in his heart. "You taught me all of this," he chuckled softly, wiping away tears. The bond of the community had strengthened that day. And as Sam looked to the faces anew, he felt a current of connection binding them all together, hope even deeper than before. The fields could be mended, lives could be rebuilt. Maplewood wasn't just a farm, it was family, resiliency, and love. As the sun dipped low across the horizon, casting a golden light over their sacred ground, Sam knew this was only the beginning. He glanced to Max and Boomer, who were now friends forever, little heroes of this incredible tale. Now more than ever, they understood one thing together: they could face anything life threw their way. So, if you felt the pulse of this story, this journey of bravery and transformation, don't wait not even one more second. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will make your heart race and paint smiles across faces you love. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, because your support is what makes this journey possible. Comment your reactions and feelings about this thrilling conclusion and let us keep this community thriving. And don't forget to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us make sure this tale of courage and love spreads far and wide. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Let us keep the spirit of Maplewood alive.